Welcome back, travel lovers. It's Mike Putman.
And James Ferrara, ready to bring you another thrilling episode of our podcast.
Last week, we announced our incredible travel destination raffle giveaway, and the response has been simply amazing. Thank you to everyone who joined our newsletter and took a shot at guessing the mystery location.
That was fun. Well, today we're excited to reveal that the lucky winner will be jetting off to the stunning island of Jamaica. You got the clue right. Mike hinted at a connection with double 007, James Bond, and so the destination is Jamaica.
That's right. Jamaica is a Caribbean paradise known for its pristine beaches, vibrant culture, and laid back atmosphere. But here's the catch: we're not telling you exactly where in Jamaica you'll be staying just yet.
That's where you come in. We're giving you another chance to earn more points towards the giveaway. If you can guess the specific location within Jamaica where the winner will be enjoying their luxurious 3 night, 4 day, all exclusive getaway, you'll earn 5 additional raffle points.
Whether you think it's Montego Bay, Kingston, Negril, or Ocho Rios, or somewhere else entirely, just send us your best guess. Remember, even if you're not spot on, you'll still be earning points just for participating.
And if you haven't already signed up for our newsletter, now's the time to do it. You'll get 5 raffle entries just for joining, plus the opportunity to rack up more points with your guesses. Just head over to notouristallowed.com, press raffle, and you can see all the raffle entry options there.
So get those guesses coming in, and who knows, you might be the one soaking up the sun, sipping on a delicious cocktail, and experiencing the best of what Jamaica has to offer.
Keep listening throughout the episode as we might just drop a hint or two about that specific location in Jamaica. Good luck, and let's dive into today's topic.
Good day, everyone. I'm Mike Putman.
And I'm James Ferrara, and welcome to the podcast where we talk about all the places Mike and James have eaten, all the places Mike has played golf. I mean, that just takes up a whole season right there. And actually, what we talk about is our deep experience in the travel industry. The two of us together, getting close to 100 years in the travel business, I hate to say. And we try to arm you with some tips and strategies for how to travel better, how to travel in a more memorable way, how to avoid the tourist traps, how to get more authentic, as Mike likes to say, with your travel. So that's what we're about at No Tourists Allowed. There are other podcasts that, are about getting the best seat on the plane or whatever. Our podcast is about that. Right, Mike?
That's right, exactly. It just came to me. I was looking the other day online, and one of the quotes that I used to say, people would say, "Do you travel a lot?" And I said, "Well, I've traveled enough where I've worn the wheels off my suitcase," which I literally did one time. And lo and behold, some entrepreneur has come up with a way to retire, if you call those tires, or re-wheel your wheels on your rollerboard suitcase. It's really ingenious. It's these little, uh, they look like multicolored tires that you just slip on to your rollerboard so that you don't burn through the rubber on your suitcase. I thought that was very ingenious.
It is. I mean, I bet you could run into people who'd say they've had the same suitcase their whole life, whereas we tend to change suitcases fairly often. I just burn through them. Or maybe it's more fair to say that the airlines burn through them, right? Break them, rip them, beat them up. And, we're on the road so often that they just don't last. Even the expensive ones get beat up.
Yeah, I did have a Toomey Alpha rollerboard that lasted me 6 years. I did have to get it repaired twice, but it did last me 6 years, and now I have a new one.
So
Um,
I bought a Brookstone hard-sided bag, a roller bag, that at the time, and I want to say it's maybe 15 years ago, it was, like one of the best bags on the market. It won some awards or whatever. And I think they still sell this bag. And I literally have had it for 15 years. I don't use it on every trip because it's a carry-on bag. And you know how I feel about that, Mike. I'm
right.
not a big carry-on person, but it really has been through the wars with me. And it's still good except for one problem. It has begun squeaking. And I mean, not a little squeak, but a loud, shrieking squeak, so that when I take it through the airport, people turn around and look at me. But I got to get a little WD-40 in. I think.
Yeah, there you go. That should take care of it. And for you golfers out there too, there's a product called Club Glove, which makes a nylon ballistic, very heavy duty golf club bag. And most of the guys on the PGA Tour use this particular bag, and it is virtually indestructible. I had one that I took around, literally took around the world like 4 or 5 times, and took it on. I don't want to say hundreds, but 70, 80, 90 other golf trips. And I finally retired it, and I just replaced it with another one. But those things, if you really want a good bag, they're expensive. They're probably $500, $400, but they work very well and do a great job protecting your
Is
clubs.
that a soft-sided
It is.
bag, Mike? Oh,
Yeah,
so my son is always concerned about getting the clubs bent on the
yeah,
plane or
it
traveling.
doesn't really happen. Yeah, it doesn't.
No,
There's also a thing now because most of the drivers, which would be your tallest club, stick up the highest, and there is a metal aluminum pole that has like a mushroom on the top that creates space from the bottom of the bag or the top of the bag, so it doesn't allow it to bend to keep your driver from snapping. But I've never had that happen, and I've never used one of those. But
interesting. So this has turned into the baggage
it's the
episode.
baggage show. Yeah.
But Toomey really is the gold standard, right? Now there are some new brands out there, uh, Riwoa or something.
There are
There's
hundreds of new brands. I
Yeah,
mean, I've never
but
seen an
there's some like
explosion.
really high end, like very technology empowered luggage out there. And I don't know if you've ever seen this, but on YouTube, there was a video circulating for a while, a number of years ago, of a roller bag, and then the guy sits on it and pushes a handlebar out of the front of it, and wheels are on the back, and turns it on, and it's a scooter, and he rides through the airport.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, there
think
was
it was
a
a real product,
yeah,
actually.
yeah,
Was
it
it?
was not on yeah, it was. It was on, Kickstarter. Yeah, years ago. And I actually saw somebody not too long ago, an older couple, sitting on their bags going down the airport with that. So,
I could
yeah,
use that. Um,
it's about time
so
to hit the road, isn't it, James?
to hit the road, we have the two of us. We have a lot of stuff going. Spring is always a big time in the travel industry on the business side. A lot of events going on, and we have to be all over the place. I was down in Florida most recently, but you and I both are heading to the UK. Unfortunately, on separate trips, just a week or two away from each other. Um, and so there's that. And there is nothing like London in the springtime. It's a beautiful time of year to be there. And while I'm there, I am going to hit my usual haunts, which are some very great Indian restaurants in London, in the city, and particularly a. I also like the area of London near Marble Arch, and that is Edgware Road, where what they would call in London Asian food, but that doesn't mean the same thing that it means here in the States. Asian there means like Middle Eastern, Turkish, uh, uh, Iranian, Persian, and so on, Indian, they refer to as Asian. And that area, Edgware Road, has tons, just dozens of restaurants from those cultures and in those cuisines. And they're open really late at night. They've got hookahs outside on the sidewalk. It's really kind of a very vibrant part of the city, but it's the food that takes me there.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a great part of London. I'm going over for a loyalty conference in early June, and then I've got a few days. I think I'm gonna. I keep saying I'm gonna do this, and I think actually this time I'm going to do it. I've got 2 days between conferences, and I think I'm going to take a train down to Cornwall and eat at one of Rick Stein's restaurants. Rick Stein is in the UK, they call them, well, he's a chef, but they call them cookery shows instead of cooking shows. They call them cookery shows. And he's hosted a long time travel cookery show that's it's one of my favorite things to watch on the BBC. But he lives down in Cornwall and has a few restaurants. So I think I'm going to venture down there and and I haven't seen that part of England, which they say is just breathtaking. But I plan on taking a train down and just staying maybe a night or two, and then coming back and flying out of London. Then from London, I'm going to Barcelona, which there's another travel conference there, the Focusrite Conference for Europe, and I'll spend 3 or 4 days there at that conference, and then come on back. But love Spain and love London, so this is going to be, even though it's work for all but about 2 days, it's going to be. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
In Barcelona, if you can get out to the beach area of Barcelona, which actually used to be a separate village, but over the years, over the centuries, Barcelona grew and eventually just gobbled it up. So now it's actually an area of Barcelona, but they have all the seafood restaurants along the beach. And you walk in, and there are these big ice displays with the fresh fish all over them, and you kind of pick what you want to eat. And they're really simple, but really amazing. It's a fun part of town to go to. The Cornish coast, we hear Cornish in the States and we think, what, Cornish hens?
Right, right.
But Cornwall and the Cornish coast is actually the number one domestic destination for people in the UK to vacation.
I
And
didn't.
yeah, and during the pandemic, you couldn't get near the place. It was completely sold out for the season that year because it's so the coastline is so beautiful, and the character of even the interior, the beautiful architecture and the landscape, stunning. So that's I'm really jealous. I'm going over for a couple of business days and I have to turn around and get back. Airfare. Now I know you're a good planner, and you probably booked this a while ago. I've had to make more last minute arrangements because I have to time with something going on with business. And the airfare is outrageous at the moment.
Yeah, it wasn't for me. I just booked mine maybe last week. But I'm not as picky as you, James. Right? Look, if I have to make an extra,
Well,
it's and save $2,000 or $3,000, I'll do it. Uh,
so I won't fly overnight. Not when I'm going for business, because then I'm a wreck the next day. It's like a wasted day. So won't fly overnight. So it's got to be a daytime flight. That really limits me. I get there like 9 p.m. Um, and of course, I would prefer to fly business or first class. So availability right now is really tough. Now it happens to be around certain holidays or a particularly busy time in London, but the prices were really frightening. And I have three airports to choose from in the New York area. Um, so anyhow, so going over, looking forward to that. Where are you going to eat over there, though? This is the key question.
Anchor and Hope, without a doubt, my
Yeah, it's one of your
favorite
favorites.
restaurant. There's a new place, well, new to me. It may have been there for a while, and it's called a larder, which I think is actually a Scottish word, which refers to like uh, I think we would refer to it here as more like a cupboard is kind of the word, but they call them
A
larders.
larder. Yeah.
Yeah. And, but I've been following them on Instagram of all places, and they have these amazing roasts, very traditional, typical British food, and, I think I'm gonna try that one night, and, and it depends on where I stay. I haven't booked my hotel yet. I'm still trying to trying to find a value, and actually, the St. James, I think you've stayed there, which is a
Yes,
top
I stay a
hotel.
lot.
They actually have some reasonable rates, so, I may be trying
You
that.
can get a suite there, one bedroom suite there, often for what a regular room costs because the hotel is so big. That's why it's lovely and it's in a great location right near, it's on Buckingham Gate, right near Buckingham Palace. So you're in the city, Victoria Station, Embankment, all of that. But it's a big old Victorian building. So they have a zillion rooms. They also have a separate building in the back that is private apartments and is I've seen some like famous people and Rolls Royces and so on pull up there. It's a great place to stay. I highly recommend it, and I've stayed there quite a bit. I tend to move around the city depending upon what I'm doing and where I want to be because one of the secrets, guys, about London, very much like New York, is if you can minimize how much you have to deal with the traffic, that's really good. So you want to get familiar with public transportation, which I've been using more myself in London. That's really the key to getting around. Or you want to locate your hotel in an area where you're going to be spending some time, excuse me, so you don't have to try to move around the city too much. I think the traffic in London might be worse than New York.
Yeah, but if you take the tubes, you're there's not really traffic down there, right? So I mean, you're not really delayed. You might have to wait for a couple of minutes for the next train, kind of at the worst, but it's the greatest way to move around. And when I
Oh, it's a
stay,
great system.
yeah, and when I stay, I try to find something that's within a quarter of a mile of a tube station, which is what they call their subway stations, just so I can walk to it and don't have to depend on Ubers or cabs.
Yep.
It's
And those of you who have experience with subway systems in the state, um, the London Tube is really a model system. It is clean, it is safe, it is efficient. So I agree. Um, but I haven't picked where I'm going to stay yet. And because of the time of year, I wouldn't be surprised if I wound up over in like Kensington because it's so pretty over there. Uh, and there's a very great hotel called uh, the Kensington Garden Hotel, overlooking Kensington Palace and the gardens, and really beautiful hotel. And it's, I believe it's Chinese owned, and it's five-star experience inside. Uh, then I am going to National Harbor, which is interesting. If you don't know where that is, guys, National Harbor is on the Potomac River, right across from Alexandria, Virginia. In fact, National Harbor sits in kind of like a three corners area. You've got Virginia across the river, you've got Washington, D.C. above it, and Maryland, which is actually on the Maryland side of the border, is where National Harbor District is. And it's a convention and entertainment district. Um, there's a big Tanger outlet if you're a shopper like me and you like those luxury outlets. There's a big outlet there. And it's just it's a good place for business events because of the proximity to Washington D.C. and to Alexandria. So I'm going to be there for a big conference, big travel industry conference, and you get to eat great seafood there. That's all like Chesapeake type
Yeah.
stuff. Great
Are you taking the train
crab.
down or are you flying down?
I think I'm going to drive actually because it's only a 3 hour uh, drive from my house. I don't know about the rest of you, but if I can drive, I like being master of my own universe, not beholden to the airlines and the airports and the train schedule, whatever. If I can be in charge by driving my own car and so having my own schedule and going where I want to go and stopping where I want to stop, I really enjoy that. Maybe it comes from when I was young, my dad took us on a lot of those 1960s road trips as a family, you know. And we went to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and we went here and we went there, and we did a lot of it by car and caravan, they would say in the UK. He would rent a like a recreational vehicle. Do you ever travel that way, Mike?
Yeah, actually, my family had one, a very small one, I might add. And when I was 5 years old, and I can't believe they did this. I had really good parents. This is not going to sound like they were good parents, but they put me and my sister and I in the back of this little trailer. It wasn't a Winnebago, but it was like that. I'd call it a pull behind trailer, and it was very small. And drove all the way to Mexico City with us in the back of this thing. Of course, we stopped and so forth, but this is pre air conditioning days and all that. It wasn't, but it wasn't my greatest memory. But yeah, we did quite a few road trips. When we were children, there was this was before deregulation, and there were three airline tickets. You got an advance purchase, an Apex fare. Um, you had to buy it 21 days in advance. There was a coach and a first class. There were three fares on flights, and it was all quite expensive. There wasn't competition, so the airlines charged what they could, all government regulated, and so a lot of people didn't fly. Back in those days, it's certainly not today, like today, where you see people jump on airplanes with trash bags as their luggage. Um, it was very different, and people dressed up in coat and tie. Um, Men did, and it was quite an event. And I'm sure you guys have seen some of those pictures of people, those old pictures of people on Eastern airline flights or Pan Am flights, and it was people smoking and on the plane. It was very different than it is
Yep.
today.
I had to wear a sport jacket as a kid. My father always wore a tie and sport jacket or a suit on a plane. And nowadays, people come on the plane in their pajamas, right? I mean, that's not even an uncommon thing to see.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, so we maybe gained some comfort, but we have lost something of the glamour of travel that way. Um, but anyhow, so I'm going to drive down to National Harbor, and it'll be good for me because I've never been there. I've been to Baltimore, of course, I've been to Washington, D.C. and Alexandria, but I've never been to this area. So maybe I can get to poke around a little bit. And in the 3 hours that it takes me to drive there, do you do this? This is like the calculus of travel. In I think to myself, okay, 3 hours to drive, or an hour to drive to the airport, have to be there 2 hours before the flight. It's only a 45-minute flight, but then have to transfer from the airport to the hotel. So actually, it's longer. It's 4 or 5 hours for me to fly when I could just drive it directly in 3 hours. That's my calculus that I
yeah. And if you're at the airport 2 hours in advance, it's going to limit the places that you're able to fly and make for it to make sense
do.
because you blew half a day at the airport.
I
But yeah,
also do that with car service. The other calculus for travel is, do I go to the airport and park? And it's not like your airport, Mike, where you pull up to the curb and, whatever. But You have to go to like JFK and park in the lot. It's $60 a day and whatever. But the car service costs me like over $200 to go to the airport from where I live. So I have to figure out the number of days it makes sense for me to park versus what the cost of the car service is.
Yeah. I mean, I do the same. So I live in Greenville and I will generally drive to either Asheville, which is 40 minutes away, but a much more pleasant flight, or Greenville, which is 35. But if I'm flying internationally, I almost exclusively fly out of Charlotte because if I'm flying internationally, it means I'm going to be gone a longer period of time. And I'll take an Uber, not a not a limousine, but an Uber up and back, and it's like $110 each way, $115 each way, which is $200 round trip, which is less than what I would pay in parking, even if I parked at Greenville or Asheville, and allows me to work on the way, and it drops me off at the at the front door too. So
Yep.
mm,
So, National Harbor, and I'm hoping to find good seafood restaurant. That's what, if you guys are not familiar with Maryland, that's really what Maryland's known for, some great seafood, a little bit of, touching into the South there. It's a little bit of Southern cooking, Virginia right across the river. Looking forward to finding, this will be new for me, finding a good spot. We got a lot of great restaurants in Baltimore, but not in National Harbor. So looking forward to that. And then we've got a big trip coming up, Mike, in the fall. It's early October, I think, where we're going to Sorrento, Italy. You may be going somewhere in the meantime, but that's the big one I'm thinking of. Sorrento, Italy, and my family is from very near there. My family is from a small island in the Bay of Naples called Ischia in Italy, and ancestrally, my family's from there. And Sorrento is just nearby. It's in Naples, in the south of Italy, on the coast, and we're doing a big event there. But I am really looking forward to the food. Big surprise for me and for Italy, right? Of course, but also the architecture is there and the landscape, incredible. And the lemons are the size of your head in that part of Italy. Literally, I thought they were grapefruits.
oh well, I haven't been to that part of Italy, so I'm really looking forward to that as well. It'd be a fun trip. Um,
Beautiful. Oh, I got one more to throw out there though, because it'll make you jealous. I forgot. In June, going to Pebble Beach. Now, this is the biggest waste of Pebble Beach ever in the history of golf. The fact that I get invited to this event because, guys, I am a golfer of limited experience. I just went to Top Golf a week ago, and I did manage to hit the ball. I will tell you that much. But I do not belong on one of the great golf courses in the United States, one of the most scenic, certainly, which is Pebble Beach in California, Northern California. Um, Incredible, overlooking the ocean, big stag deer running across the rocky landscape. I mean, it's like out of a movie,
it is.
really.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And 7 Mile Drive, which is one of the most famous drives in the U.S., is there. And there's actually quite a few golf courses. You hear about Pebble Beach because it's accessible, but you don't hear about Cypress, which is just around the corner of Pebble, and it is probably the most exclusive golf course in the U.S., maybe with exceptions to Augusta National, but very hard to get on. And it's an Alistair McKenzie design, happens to be my second favorite golf course in the world. Um, but it's worth, you should get a car and drive over there. You can drive up to the gate and they might let you walk into the clubhouse. But it's worth going to. It's spectacular. Really,
I've
really.
seen some of the private homes in that area, which are spectacular.
Yeah. Yeah.
These big, beautiful homes that surround that area.
So you're gonna try to
Um,
play golf while you're there?
you know, I'm going to because at least prove to myself. I approached my return to golf, and literally this is after 25 years. I am a miniature golf putting champion. I will say that. But my return to legitimate golf after maybe 25 years. And I approached it in a very accessible way. We went to Top Golf, where you could drink a lot and eat, and nobody really cares if you can hit the ball. There were people doing strange things to the ball and the clubs up there. I had no idea what was going on. Balls were bouncing off the canopy, and people really have no fear at Topgolf. So I felt I wasn't intimidated, and I was able to drive the ball, straight drives, nice lift, only 150 yards or so. But after not having golfed in a long time, I didn't think that was so terrible. So maybe I'll go out on the course at Pebble Beach and see what I can do.
No, you should. You should. But play as far forward and the far forward tees as they'll let you so you can have some fun. Um, yeah. It's a beautiful place, beautiful part of the world.
Now, where are you going after London and Barcelona? Anything coming up?
Well, I'm coming back home, and then I've got a trip to Germany to take my two daughters to see Taylor Swift. Um, and then we're going to a surprise location before Germany, which I can't share in case my daughters happen to listen to this. Yeah, and go there for a few days, and then we're going to Dortmund, and they're going to see the concert. I may or may not. I haven't decided yet. Have a ticket, but I'm not sure that I want to go to the concert. But I'm yet to be determined. But I will be there with them.
Maybe you could wait a little while and then sell that ticket and pay for the whole trip for everybody.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about. That's exactly what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
What I had to pay for the ticket, I'm really not that interested in Taylor Swift. I mean, no hate mail from the Taylor Swift people out there.
Yeah. The
I'm just not.
Swifties.
I'm not that interested. I'm doing this for my girls. But yeah, so that my ticket could be for sale for sure.
And although it doesn't sound like I'm going to get much time out here, I am trying to spend the nice weather now this season out in the Hamptons. And I live very near one of the other great golf courses, several of them actually in the United States, the National Golf Links in Southampton and the Maidstone Golf Club in East Hampton, which claims to be the oldest continuously operating golf club in the United States. The town of East Hampton was founded in the 1600s, out on the tip of Long Island. Many people know Montauk, for example, which is the very, very tip. But Montauk is part of East Hampton town, and East Hampton Village comes just before Montauk, out on Long Island, and that's where Maidstone is. So it's very beautiful. This is a big summer resort, beach resort in the summertime, famous, playground of celebrities and so on. And I would like to spend some of my summer out there, but I sometimes don't get to because of work. There are wonderful restaurants, as you can imagine, and art galleries and shops and so on. But the restaurants are really terrific. So I recently went to Nick and Tony's in East Hampton, which is sort of the place to be seen, big celebrity clientele. But we also have the Palm, one of the Palm restaurants, big steak and lobster place in a beautiful old inn out in East Hampton. We have some creative new cuisine places like Fresno, or, oh, Mike, you would love this one. It is a tavern, like a gastropub. I think the kind of place that you really like, where the food is really amazing, and it's in this old barn type, really atmospheric place, and yet a very contemporary approach to the food. And one of my favorite things there is an appetizer and it is pork crackling. And they sort of look like big onion rings, pieces of pork that have been deep fried. But when they bring them to the table, they have, you hear them like, like,
Still
what's
sizzling.
yeah, what is the cereal? Rice Krispies
Yeah.
with the snap, crackle, and pop.
Yeah.
That's what's going on in this bowl. And they're drizzled with a little chili oil, and they've got like minced scallions on them. So there's a little bit of an Asian twist to them, but you actually hear them. It's audible food. I love.
And you're going to talk about all these restaurants. You're not going to mention Joe's restaurant?
Oh my goodness, that's right. A business plan. And I was there Sunday night, just a couple of days ago. A business partner of ours has a restaurant in absolutely charming Sag Harbor, right? Which is the where the all the boats are in the Hamptons. It's on the bay side, and it's an old whaling village from the 17 and 1800s. It has the largest collection of historic residences in the United States. So, pre 19th century houses in the United States. Really, it's like a little antique, beautiful, charming village. But then, of course, it's filled with great restaurants and great boutiques and galleries and so on. And Joe has a restaurant called Paid on Main Street in Sag Harbor, and it just reopened after a big renovation. And I went a couple of nights ago, and it was really special. It looks fantastic, glamorous, wonderful, and the food was really terrific. I had shad roe, which, if you're not from the New York area, may not mean anything to you. But there is a fish called a shad, and the roe, the egg sac of the fish, is a delicacy. And it's seasonal, and if you're a New Yorker, you can know that it's shad season, that the shad are running in the Hudson River, because we have a thing called shad trees here, and they bloom at exactly the same time as the fish run in the river. So it's the early spring, like now, and they take that shad roe, and the traditional way to serve it is to fry it lightly. And so I had shad roe, and I had orange roughy, and if you're a fish eater, orange roughy is a really great fish, and you don't see it so often in restaurants. So I had a wonderful dinner. Great place. Highly recommended. Page in Sag Harbor.
Yeah, it's worth making the trip up, even if you're at another part of the Hamptons, to get up there and make a reservation, because it's quite a popular place. And just tell them Mike sent you.
And near you, Mike, you just mentioned near you, you have a very special place within driving distance from your house. Another area that's kind of a resort area, or attracts a lot of visitors.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Asheville is very
Asheville.
yeah, and on all of Western North Carolina. So most people are familiar with Asheville because of Biltmore and some other things, but there's all of Western North Carolina is really popping up. A lot of people from Northeast are moving there, as well as people from Florida having a second home during the summer, because it's certainly significantly cooler up in the
And
mountains.
Biltmore, of course, the Vanderbilt family estate, a like a castle, right?
Yeah, it's the largest home in North America. Yeah, it is massive, and it's
And
there.
you can visit it and do tours and stuff.
Oh yeah, and there's garden tours. There's a winery there. There's 2 hotels. There's several restaurants on property. It's a great place to go.
But then Asheville itself has so many cool
Oh yeah,
stores, restaurants, all of that.
and while we're talking about the South, I do want to mention that Charleston has, according to Travel and Leisure, 3 of the top 10 restaurants in America are in Charleston, South Carolina. By the way, New York City had 1 in the top 10. I'd like to add that. But I think number 2 and 3 are in Charleston, and 1 like number 8 or 9. So, yep. things are changing, and people are opening their eyes to the Southern cuisine, as well as a lot of good chefs are moving down here too, which is probably a bigger part of that story.
If we go to Asheville, where are we staying? At that cool hotel that you took me to?
Oh, the Grand Bohemian, yeah. I think we had a meeting there one time. That's one of my favorite hotels on the planet. Really cool, right
Yep.
across from the Biltmore.
One sec.
Hey, James, we got to so we've got in our giveaway, we talked about having another way to enter and get some additional entries, I should say. So if you go to if you haven't entered, go to notouristallowed.com and you can click on the link that says giveaway or raffle. I can't remember which one. But then if you'll enter your email address, you'll automatically be included in our raffle for the trip that we're giving away. And this week, we're going to give you a chance to win 5 additional entries. So last week we had a little contest, and we spoke about or gave you some clues, some ideas on where the mystery trip was going to be, and we gave you clues that might have made you think of Jamaica. Um, and some of those clues were the second home of Ian Fleming, who is the writer for the James Bond novels. James, what were some of the other clues that were given? Do you remember?
Uh, I don't. That is the only one I remember. But now we gave it away. Now it's about what the clues are for where in Jamaica.
Yeah, so Jamaica, of course, is an island surrounded by ocean, as as you would define an island to be. But they also have many different tourist destinations, and what we're going to do is give you a chance if you can narrow down the destination to get 5 more entries. So again, go to the site and you can guess the destination within Jamaica that we're going to give this beautiful, wonderful, all inclusive trip to. So we're going to give you a couple of clues. Um, the one I'm going to give you is this place is the home of, underscore home of, one of my favorite restaurants in the world, and its name is Scotchy's. Okay, so that's a jerk, kind of a world famous jerk, not in a as a bad guy jerk, but the style of cooking jerk restaurant, and it's the home of Scotchy's. James, do you have one?
I do only um, a little more geographic, and that it is the capital of St. James Parish in Jamaica. All the parishes are named after saints in Jamaica, and that is the capital of St. James Parish. So that's the resort we're talking about. Now you got to figure out what it is.
Yeah. So go to No Tourist Allowed. Put your entries in for the name of the destination within Jamaica that we're giving this trip away, and see if you can't win an additional 5 entries into our contest.
Great. Well, Mike, we did our little tour of travel plans and restaurants and luggage
Yeah, of all things.
and baggage this week. So it was nice to share a little bit with everyone. Please, guys, write in if there's something you'd like to see us talk about, if there's a question you have about travel, if there's a recommendation you'd like to make. Write into us at notouristallowed.com, and we'll try to work it into our programs.
Yes. Thanks so much for listening, and please tell your friends and family to subscribe to the podcast, and we really appreciate your support.